Hello, 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 and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Give me a moment as I share this live broadcast with you guys. I would also ask that you would share it as well, family. I would very much appreciate it. This is definitely one of those topics that needs to be discussed. You know how there are some things that you can just kind of cover briefly, but then there are other things that you kind of have to talk about for obvious reasons, and this is one of those. So if you can, please go ahead and share this video. I'm going to be sharing it as well, and then I'm going to get right into this. I'm going to be getting right into this. This is a very, very disturbing thing that we are seeing happen here. First, I'd like to thank everyone who is joining us this morning, to our moderators who are here, Atala, Devon, Patty Brown. Thank you guys for being here this morning. Thank everyone else who is here as well. As I've stated, I'm sharing this. Once I'm done sharing, can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Okay. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Someone just said that they couldn't hear me, so if you can just let me know if everything is fixed, then I will continue on. Thank you very much, family. It looks like these jacks on the mics may have some shortages, and so I'm gonna have to deal with that real soon here. Anyway, let's get into this story. I've shared it. Hopefully you've shared it. This is a very, very sad and disturbing thing. I'm going to be talking about this. I saw this on the Go Black to Africa channel. I wanted to preface this by saying that first. I'm a subscriber on his channel there, and he is a very fair and balanced brother when he talks about things. So I am going to dive into this topic. When I saw it, I was very disturbed. I wasn't surprised, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. I will be telling you why in just a moment. Got one more thing I want to do here. And I'm going to be sharing something, some video with you guys, some audio as well. There are some things that, again, that happen in this world that you cannot be silent on, right? And I want to say this first. I noticed that, in the world in general, not just in the black community, but in the world in general, people don't like you talking about their stuff, if you know what I mean. They don't like you talking about what's going on in their communities. It doesn't matter who it is, black people, white people. No one wants you talking about their stuff. And when you do talk about it, they say that you are attacking, right? And so I want you all to understand something. Just because I'm talking about something that's happening on the continent of Africa does not mean that I am attacking anyone. Okay, over the years, whenever I would talk about certain things that are going on in Africa, I would have people from here from the U.S. and people from Africa who would actually say that I'm attacking Africa, and that I shouldn't say things, talk about negative things concerning Africa. Okay, and I say to myself, excuse me? I mean, there are negative things happening all over this planet. Okay, negative things happening all over this planet. And it's not off limits to talk about these things just because it makes you uncomfortable. Okay, so anyway, we're going to be talking about something that's very, very tragic that took place over in Ghana. So there are some African Americans whose houses have been torn down by Ghana authorities, and you will see in the video that I'm going to share with you that their personal items were stolen as well. Okay, I found all of this to be very disturbing. A lot of people find it disturbing. Even people who live there in Ghana find it disturbing. But nonetheless, it happened, right? And you're going to hear where they're saying that the people whose homes were torn down were Hebrew Israelites. So this is crazy. That's right, Atala, this is crazy. Okay, so without further ado, I want to go ahead and show you the video clip first, and then I'm going to share with you how one of the chiefs responded to all of this. Okay, again, this is very disturbing. You're going to see how they are there tearing these homes down, and they're basically saying that it has something to do. Okay, I have someone in the chat here who says that they are born in Ghana, and they said that it's sad to hear, but it's not surprising. So now you all know that I'm not attacking Ghana. I'm not attacking the people of Ghana. I'm talking about something that has taken place in Ghana. Okay, something very sad and very tragic. Okay, so again, these are African Americans whose homes are being torn down. Also, something that needs to be noted is that many of their items were being stolen as well. Now, it has been also said that they are doing this because they want to build an LGBT hotel resort. Okay, it is being said that that is one of the reasons, and I'm like, if that is one of the reasons why they are doing this, and that is just terrible. That is absolutely terrible. One moment here. Terrible. All right, so let's get into this topic. All right, so we're going to show you the video. The video is very disturbing, so brace yourself for that. Right, here it is, family. Here it is. I'm going to show you two clips. One of them is a video clip showing the properties being torn down. The other will be the audio of how the chief responded. Here we go.
We were driving past this place, so this is Cape Coast. Not quite sure what's happened. They've just come and knocked somebody's building down, just like that. It's crazy. So apparently the people who sold the land to him are saying his lease is up, but we all know he hasn't been here for as long as they're saying. They're saying 50 years is up, but we know he hasn't been here for 50 years. And people are here looting it, like looting what they can out of the building. This is so sad and so tragic. And you know, if this person who owns this place has been treated unfairly, then there really is no justice in this country. And that is tragic, and that is really sad, and it just breaks my heart. I'll see if I can. So this guy whose face I'm not going to show, he's saying that he had the guy who owns it had a 50-year lease, and then the MCE, who is a government official in this place, has sold the land and has just turned up and is knocking the building down. There he is, the guy in the checkered blue and red. That's the MCE. Absolute disregard for justice. If this is how authorities act in this country, then we're really in trouble. This is so bad. So bad. Oh, right.
And look, they're trying to steal our roofs and the sidings and stuff.
So what, they just turned up, no notice?
This morning they turned up. I wasn't here early when they turned up.
Right.
Our people were cooking in the kitchen. They turned the electric off, and then they started dismantling the building.
Wow.
They took the grates, that building right there.
Yeah. That one, yeah.
The building right here that's destroyed right here. Yeah. I just heard when I was in Cape that somebody put it on our site that that building was still, I have pictures of that building. It was still up. But they'd taken all the windows out, all the doors off, and the grates, the security grates. That was the only building we had that was secure. That building back there behind the water tanks is the kitchen. So they were preparing food there this morning for the lunch that we do every day. There's a vegan restaurant that people order food from and come and pick it up here. And that's how I found out what was going on. I called to order some food. And that's when they told me they shut down everything.
Oh my gosh.
And that
how are you still standing? You're impressive.
How
are you still standing?
Oh, well, you know, we have to be strong in situations
oh
like
my
this.
gosh.
That's a brand new light pole they tearing down right there. That light pole just got put in.
They're going to pay for all that, bro.
All that new wood, they got that shit we just got to put in this diaspora.
Yeah.
Now they got the scavengers, all these that feed the sharks over here. That's what they in trouble, man.
Yeah, they're going to pay for all of that. Yeah, they're going to pay for all of that. Yeah, they're going to pay for all of that. Yeah. Hey, why are you taking that? Excuse me. Hey, why are you taking this? I got your picture. Who told you to take this? Are you secure? Are you with them? You see them taking this stuff here?
Okay, so that's part one of all of this. That's part one of this. I want to say this first. That was very difficult to watch. Some of you said that in the chat, that this was very difficult to watch. Now, there have been some who live in Africa or once lived in Africa chiming in as well. And they are corroborating that these kinds of things are not a surprise at all. So over the years, as I've mentioned, many have made it seem as though it's almost, they make it seem as if it's a sin to even talk about anything that's going on in Africa, right? We talk about things that happen all over the planet. Why is it that we in the diaspora, okay, are not allowed to talk about things that happen in Africa? It doesn't mean that we don't love our brothers and sisters, because many of them are suffering as well. Many of them are going through things as well. So this is nothing against our people, but we have a right. We have a right to talk about the things that are happening, especially something like this. We are talking about African Americans whose homes have been torn down by Ghana authorities and their personal items stolen. And it is being alleged that they're doing this because they want to use that land for an LGBT hotel. Right? Now, there's mention of the year of return in the audio that I'm going to be sharing with you. Now, we talked about that year of return thing in great detail years ago. And we were ridiculed by so-called Hebrew Israelites over here in America, so-called black folk here. Okay? Y'all, some of y'all may remember that. We were being ridiculed, and people were saying that we don't know what we're talking about the little 400-year curse thing, and that we were supposed to be returning back to Africa. Now, that time done came and went. That time has come and gone. And now people are reworking their numbers and rephrasing the things that they were saying about the year of return. Now, I want to say this too. I'm going to share with you the audio from one of the officials in response to this. But then I want to say this, that you have those who look at the Bible and they interpret things a certain way. And if you don't agree with them, they will literally cut you off. I had people cut me off because I didn't agree that we were supposed to be returning to Africa. I believe it was it 2016 or 2019? It was 2019, right? Okay, 4 years later, here we are. Now remember that 2019 was, in reference to the 1619. Some of y'all remember that? All right, so Zion says that, to Zion in the chat says, you can talk about things happening in Africa. People in Africa also get some heat from some brothers and sisters in Americas too. I guess generally people don't like others talking about their stuff. So exactly. But here's the difference here. This is not just talking about their stuff. This is talking about things that happened to African Americans that went there and how they're being dealt with, right? This is talking about that. Glenn Yahoo says, this is further confirmation that we should stay put. I would love to travel to the continent, but not to stay. Yah said he will come for us. This has been a struggle to stay or go. See, hey, there you go. There you go. That is how we view things as well. Okay, to Glenn Yahoo that said that in the chat. That's how we look at it too. That is exactly how, that when the Most High, he says that he's going to gather us. And so everybody jumping ship trying to go save themselves. Now, one thing that I want you to that I'm going to talk about too, is something that the brother from Go Black to Africa had mentioned about African Americans or others in the diaspora going to Africa, and some things have happened to them. Many have lost their lives. And see, I think a lot of people don't want us to talk about that portion of it because they say, well, you're spreading fear. Anyway, that brother's been traveling a lot in Africa. He travels a lot. So you can go hear him say it. But again, we had already heard, we are from Detroit. Okay. We had heard of the mother and the daughter who were taken out or killed in Ghana. Now, when I remember, and I talked about that story years ago, people were coming for me then. Like, why am I talking about that? Why wouldn't I talk about this? This was two women from the city of Detroit where I spent a good majority of my life. They went there expecting to have a good life, and their lives were taken. And so you have people who, shh, don't talk about that. Don't talk about that. See, I consider myself to be spreading truth and not fear. If someone becomes afraid, then that part is on them. Spreading truth shouldn't cause fear, but what it should do is cause you to think and analyze things a lot better. Right, I appreciate that, Ken Tanat Turner. I wasn't referring to you as saying that I was spreading fear. I was just looking at your statement, and I was agreeing with you as well. I was agreeing with your statement as well when I was saying that. I was just trying to say that, over the years, a lot of people have tried to say that that's what we are doing, that we should not talk about things that are negative as it relates to Africa. And, and I just disagree with that, especially at one time, our family considered moving to Africa. We thought it would be a great idea, but then we started doing a whole lot of research. This is back, we were considering South Africa, Durban, Africa to be exact. And when we heard what happened there, we first started looking at the Blacks Without Borders documentaries, and it was really, really awesome to see. But then when we heard what happened to some of those people, I said, oh my goodness, the xenophobia kicked in, and a lot of the people from the diaspora that went over there and started businesses in South Africa lost their lives at the hands of people in South Africa. Now, someone in the chat a few minutes ago, they had actually posted, they said that if this had happened in South Africa, it probably would have been a lot worse. So again, people have a right to be informed. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you the response that the chief posted in regards to this right here, where the houses were being torn down. I'm going to post that. Then, of course, I will be right back.
Nobility not for sale. I am very, very, very sad to hear that in Cape Coast, my hometown, some of my subjects have taken the law into their own hands to go to Asasipa on Bakado at the riverside and tear down the property that belongs to Asasipa, our Hebrew return home family. This is not a good news at all. This is absolutely terrible news for Cape Coast and for Ghana. As the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, statement to the world, the year of return. What kind of return is it? Instead of the right to return, the year of return, look what is happening within it. The government officials that are involved ought to be ashamed of themselves. And my subject, my citizens who took rampage to loot Asasipa properties, they are wrong, absolutely wrong. And it is my wish and my hope that the Asasipa family will take it to the law. Yes, we take it to the law. All because we must also know and investigate very deeply into it. Looks like LBGQ is involved in financing what is happening there. If and when they build a hotel in that site where they vandalize and brutalize and abuse and insult and destroy our one African project, Asasipa. Some of us have no history, knowledge. Some of us have no understanding. Some of us are really, really educated fools when it comes to what is happening in Cape Coast with Asasipa. The traditional council is involved. The municipal authority is involved. Who is going to stay in that hotel if they build that hotel there? Who are those people they expect to come and stay there? White folks, gays, bodaggers, lesbians, and who else is coming to stay there? That's what we should know. We are not doing the right thing by our own folks that were taken into slavery, and that their descendants are returning to their rightful home on the continent of Africa. Africans must give respect to Africans. I would have wished and hoped again that they would have done the proper thing by calling the brothers and sisters of the Hebrew family of Asasipa to a table for a amicable and respectful discussion before demolition of the property. I want my brothers and sisters who have returned home to do this business, Asasipa, to know that I have added my voice. As the senior divisional chief of Cape Coast, I have no hand in it, I have no knowledge of it, and I have nothing to do with it. Absolutely. For those of them that got involved, for those of them that participated, they have done a great wrong thing to their own family. What would they do to the Chinese if it were Chinese people there? What would they do to the Lebanese if it was Lebanese people there? What would they do to them? Why can't Africans respect Africans for a minute? Why can't we do that? Why can't we give respect where respect is due to Africans trying to do something for Africans? I'm ashamed of seeing it. I'm ashamed of hearing it. I'm sad. Please share this information to all the African family, including the officials that got involved in this, all because they did not do the right thing. And if you investigate it right, you see that my pronouncement is correct. My saying, my deliverance on this particular issue is correct. And that the law must take its right course. If the lease on the property for Asasipa is not completed, the law must take its course. And we as African descendants returning home must be peaceful to pursue it with diligently and respectfully. Yes, we can demonstrate. Yes, we can make noise, but all the same, what it does is to destroy the African family. One Africa, Hotel, Grand Rising, nobility not for sale.
Okay, so now that was the second part of this very, very tragic thing. This is a trip, y'all. Now, I've been watching what many of you have said in the chat. Now, there's a lot of conversation going on about this in the chat, and everyone has a right to their opinion. Most of you, well, so far I've seen everyone agree that it's okay to talk about these things, that we should not be silenced on talking about these things, right? We are fully aware that all over the planet, not just here in the U.S., not just in other regions, but all over the planet, so-called black people are treated unfairly. We know this, okay? Especially those of us who live in the U.S., we know what our people are going through here. So don't say that just because we are going through things here in the U.S. that we shouldn't be trying to discourage people from going to Africa. I'm not trying to discourage anyone from going to Africa, but that is one thing that I've been accused of over the years whenever I talk about these things, okay? Whenever I talk about these things. Miss Coyle says he's lying. Everyone knows in Ghana that, and I'm reading from the chat here, that one of the main steps in buying land is getting permission from the chief, and it is on him to come or send authorities to stop what was happening. And then Miss Coyle says someone paid him off and he's just doing damage control. Okay, so I'm just reading what the chat said there, okay? Just reading what someone said there in the chat. And so that's an interesting point. If that is what has happened, that is a very interesting point and is very sad indeed. Okay, now you can't discourage anyone from doing anything. Now, a lot of people moved to Ghana because they said the Most High told them to. Okay, and who am I to argue that point with anyone who has decided that they want to move to Ghana? We cannot argue that point with them. Okay, but here's the thing that we can do. When we find out about things like this, we can inform those who are needing more information. Okay, we can inform those. As a matter of fact, there's a sister that messages me often who lives on the continent. She doesn't live in Ghana, but she says that any area, any country in Africa, she says if you're from the diaspora, you need to really pray first, because she says things are not as easy as they seem. Be very prayerful. Now, this is a woman who was born on the continent of Africa, right? I was corresponding with her because I was trying to send some items over there, and trying to send those packages over there for some things that some people needed in Zimbabwe. Oh my goodness, the shipping cost, and I've talked about this before, the shipping cost was terrible for the things that we were sending, like school supplies, toiletries, soap and toothpaste and different female needs and things of that nature we were trying to send. And the boxes, it was 2 really big boxes, but what they wanted to ship these items over there was almost $3,000. We got one quote that was $3,000 per box, and one was $1,800 per box. I said, woo-hoo-hoo. And so we just ended up having to just send Western, I believe it was Western Union or MoneyGram, one of those that is accepted over there. And I said that this is ridiculous. It's like they don't even want us to help our people. They make the cost so astronomical that you can't even afford to send things. Absolutely ridiculous. But I said all that to say this, and corresponding with that sister over the years, she informed me that our people don't need to just be running over there just because they think it's a good idea, or because they're trying to flee something that's happening here in America. Okay. Trying to get us back to Africa, I'm sorry. And so I believe that we as the people need to just stand still. Many of you said that in the chat. Stand still and wait on the Most High. Stand still and wait on the Most High, because what has happened to these people is just terrible. Jamaican girl says that this was painful to watch. Absolutely, it was. It was painful, but someone in the chat early on said that they were not surprised. And so one thing I wanted to know, when you all get a moment, I want you to go over and look at the video from Go Black to Africa. He, again, is a brother who travels a whole lot. He's been all over the continent, right? And he made a statement that some of you aren't going to like, because I've said the same thing over the years. But see, he's a person who has been there, so maybe you can hear it better from him. But he says nobody should be buying land in Ghana. He said, if you're from the diaspora, you don't need to be buying land in Ghana. Can y'all handle that? Was that too much to hear? If it was too much to hear coming from me, because I've never been there before, go and listen to a brother who has been there. Did y'all hear what I said? Go and listen to a brother who has been there. Go Black to Africa. And so many others. Whenever there's someone telling their story, about their experience in Africa, I look at the comments and I say, this is really sad that this person is telling their story. And you have others who are so bothered and triggered by it that they will say that you all are making Africa look bad. How dare we try to silence someone who is merely sharing their experience? I looked at one sister who's married to a man from Ghana. In her video, she was cussing up a storm. Y'all hear what I'm saying? She was cussing up a storm because she was talking about how even the man that she married, his family, everybody around was just on her, trying to get money out of her. And she says they don't have any qualms about taking from you. Am I allowed to say that, y'all? Her testimony is right here on YouTube. She's married to a man from Ghana. And she was talking about how they have no qualms about taking from her. And like I said, she was cussing up a storm, American style. Y'all hear what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that with any pride or anything like that. I'm just telling y'all how she responded to how she was being used over there. Arianya says she saw that video too. She said they expect her to pay for everything they need. Now, if a person wants to do that, they have a right to, if a person wants to, but she had a grievance with it. She had a problem with it because she felt like she was being used. Caribbean Princess says she was thinking about Tanzania. Some people call it Tanzania. A young sister that, we're about the same age, but a sister that I used to go to church with, I knew her many years ago. We talked a few years ago. Her and her husband moved to Tanzania, and she was talking about how nice it was. So, Tanzania, she didn't have anything bad to say about it. Now, some are saying that this is a really hard lesson to learn. Ms. Battle said that here in the chat. Juanita says she married a man in Ghana when she went there, and let's just say not even 3 months into marriage, she's divorcing him. Too shady with his online behavior. Okay. That is another, hey, there's someone else here in the chat talking about their experience. And again, we're not saying that this is true of everyone in that country. We're not saying that at all. We're just saying that people have a right to be informed and what to expect. They have a right. Now, to hear that these African Americans went over there, many of them probably believed that they were going over there to, set up a good life and, escape things here in the U.S. To have this happen, this is devastating. Now, of course, we don't know all the details. We don't know all of the details. But one thing I do know, having your house torn down, that's a big deal. That was money that you put into it. Amir McCoy says he was living in Ghana and is now moving to Kenya because Ghana was too money hungry for me. This is what someone else said. Yafe says her husband is Ghanaian. Thank Yah, no issues like that they've had. Wonderful. Toda Yah for that. So again, everyone is not that way. But you have a right to know that those possibilities are there. Now, someone from South Sudan diaspora says, why do you hate people from Africa? We are not all the same. You are right. We are not all the same. Well, I never said we are all the same. And I never said that oh my goodness. That is the stuff that I have been going through over the years. Because I'm talking about something that people need to hear about. They accuse you of hating people. The same thing, whenever I talk about issues, it can be a man who just killed a woman, right? And I'm talking about the situation. Like the woman in Atlanta who had a bookstore, and she employed this guy. She dated him for a short time, but the relationship didn't work out, but she still employed him. And so I'm talking about that story. And then all of a sudden people say, I hate black men because I'm talking about that. That's a trip. So I'm not allowed to talk about men abusing women without being accused of hating all men. Here I have a wonderful husband here, you know what I'm saying, that I love dearly. And I have wonderful sons. One son which is an adult, and the other two almost adults. So I'm not, I am not hating on men if I talk about something that a man has done to a woman. Come on now. All right. But I'm back to this story, y'all. Back to this story. For those of you who are joining late, I want to show you all the clip again of what happened to the houses of these African Americans who are said to be Hebrew Israelites. Before I do that, Adwoa says in the chat, says, my sister married a Ghanaian from one of the royal families. They lived here in the States. However, my sister wound up divorcing him because the relationship didn't work out. Okay, so that's just a simple explanation right there. And that happens all over where relationships don't work out. So, again, understand that we are just talking about these things. We are just informing. Okay? We are just informing people of what has taken place here. All right. Instead of me replaying the video, I'm going to just, when we close this out, I'm going to let you all just go back to the beginning, and you'll be able to see them actually tearing the houses down. You'll hear the woman speaking about this. Karen says she's in the chat. She says she's in the U.S. and her husband is Nigerian. All is not the same. When the Most High bless you and send a husband for you. So again, that is wonderful. There are some situations that are just fine, you know. There are some marriage situations that worked out well. Okay? But again, we are talking about this situation and situations like it. And if it does not apply, then we certainly are not talking about every person. Okay, well, I am going to close out this video. This is very, very sad indeed to see. Oh my goodness, to see this happening. I want to point out something that Ronnie Ya said here in the chat. She said they aren't tearing down Chinese houses. So basically, what the sister is saying is that they definitely treat others differently than they treat us. Am I allowed to say that? Can I say that, y'all? Now, years ago, I saw an African brother who actually moved here to the U.S. and bought property, beautiful home, set up a life here, and he said all with the intentions of going back to Africa. So he went back to Africa, and he said that the African people preferred to do business with the Gentiles or the people of other nations than to do business with him. Ain't that something? So is an African allowed to say that? Is an African allowed to say that? That he went back there to do business in Africa, and they preferred to do business with the white folk. Sound just like our people, don't it? All over the planet. All over the planet. our people have dealt and continue to deal treacherously with one another. We are not fair towards one another. All over the planet. All over the planet. This is not something that is just here in the U.S. It's not something that's just in Africa, but all over the planet. We prefer others over each other. We treat others differently. We treat others better than we treat one another. And that is shameful. That is shameful. Shame on us for even allowing this. Shame on us for being so easily manipulated to where we would be this way with one another. Onita Key said they would never do that to Chinese people. And they don't. We don't treat other people the way we treat one another. Even here in the U.S., we just don't. Zen Motley said, so what? Is our homeland going to be here, there, or where? Well, our homeland has nothing to do with which place we pick. Because you got people saying it's here, you got people saying it's there, you got people saying it's over there. Everyone wants to pick a homeland. And I say, I'm going to sit and wait until the Most High tells us. Until He gathers us. Because that's what the Word said. It says He's going to gather us. Right? You got everybody playing eeny, meeny, miny, mo. This is where we have to go. You know? I'm like, In South Sudan, you sitting up here saying, stop the hate. What are you talking about? Who am I hating on? South Sudan diaspora. What do you mean by stop the hate? You know what you are doing. And of course, I know Africa is a place of many different people. My goodness. Oh my goodness. It amazes me how folk think the minute you start talking about. So later on today, I have a message for the daughters of Zion. Okay? A very sharp message that I believe that the Most High wants me to speak. Are you going to say that I hate women now? Because I have this message to speak? So if you talk about anything that folk don't like, it equates to hate. All right. I'm going to be done with this video, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. Because I have to prepare for the next broadcast. But thank you all for joining us this morning. Until we meet again, just a little bit here. I'll see you on the next video. Love you, family. Shalom.